team mentorship and student achievements. We hope you enjoy this session. The presenters are going to introduce themselves now.
Thanks very much, Shelley. My name is Paul Greenberg, and I'm an educator at UAGC in our Masters of Psychology program. In June 2024, and following the lead of Bill Davis and Teresa Handy, I created an informal program in speaking and leadership for our UAGC students. The program is meant to help students improve any element of speaking and leadership that they like. None of this work would be possible without the assistance of my awesome colleagues, Bill and Teresa, and the stars of our show today, our awesome students, Jyevonne and Malayna. I will let Bill and Teresa introduce themselves, and then we will hear from our students.
Thank
Bill,
you,
please
Paul.
take it away.
Thank you, Paul. My name is Bill Davis, and I'm a program chair, assistant professor in the Ford School of Business and Technology Operations Management Analysis program. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. My colleagues, Paul and Teresa, I've worked with them on other programs too that further student success. But when I heard about this one, I was all in. I jumped in with both feet, and I like this, and I like the whole process and the model. And I certainly like seeing student success and innovating and collaborating with my colleagues. So, Teresa, you're up next.
Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. I am Dr. Teresa Handy, and I am the program chair and over our first entry point course called Gen 101, where we teach students about developing skills and strategies for success. I get to see the students who enter our institution on that first day, so to speak, of school, when they're nervous and excited and full of hopes and dreams. And over the years, I'm an informal mentee of Bill Davis. He's a great mentor, and he has talked about the importance of mentoring students. And he pulled me in and introduced me to Paul, and I met Jyevonne, and I've just been inspired to support students in the entry point course now who show the spark that Jyevonne showed as a student who has goals and dreams and a plan for her future. So encouraging our students is such an important piece of what we do in the classroom. And then seeing it progress in this way has been just a joy. So thank you, Paul and Bill, for letting me tag along.
It's our pleasure. We're delighted. And I'm inspired. I've always been inspired by our students. But I saw the particular work that Bill and Teresa were doing. And I thought, I just have to do this with our students. And so I put out the message, see who responds. And lo and behold, our awesome student, Jyevonne Saffold, was the first person to join in our informal program. So it's now my great pleasure to introduce everybody to Jyevonne. And so I'd just like to ask you a first question. Please tell us a little about yourself, including your current position and your goals.
So my name is Jyevonne Saffold. I reside in Goodyear, Arizona. Currently, I'm an educator and advocate for students and teachers. And, the fancy word for it is the Dean of Students and Teacher Services. I'm also a young entrepreneur as well, of Natasha's Closet, which focus on youth to help develop them and help them overcome 21st century, help them overcome coming of age issues using 21st century learning to help support them. And I guess my ultimate goal is to eventually transition to counseling within the next 2 years, whether it's at a school or working for the state, to better support and empower students, families, and just overall my community.
Well, now you see why we enjoy working with you, because there's unlimited amount of good and excellence that we can just support you with. And you're already doing these amazing things. Teresa, would you like to ask Jyevonne our second question?
Yes. So can you tell us a little bit about how your personal background has led you to pursue higher education?
Yeah, for sure. So my journey into higher education is honestly influenced by my experience as a youth. I grew up in the inner city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with a single parent and my 3 siblings. So growing up in the inner city, you know, I didn't see anyone that I aspired to be like, or I didn't see any examples of what um, I needed to see. So I knew education was the key for me to get out. Um, and it was basically me finding those different keys to be successful. Um, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Were there any particular experiences that you had growing up that led you to higher ed?
Yeah, so my sisters and I are first generation of high school graduates. I was the first generation as a college graduate, and my sisters all followed suit. Um, my mother, she didn't graduate from high school, but she instilled in us that education was important, but she didn't know how to service us in that way so that we could guide ourselves, or she can guide us to ensure that it was important. So she always said, good, get good grades. But we never established how to get that, but her intentions were pure and on track of what she desired for us to be and do. And now she have four young girls who are in the fields of education or medicine. And we're all college graduates and high school graduates as well.
Thank you so much. And Bill, would you like to ask our third question?
Absolutely, and I'd be remiss if I didn't share a little moment that we had with Jyevonne when we were coaching last week, and those students came in her office as she was working there, and I could see the love and care that she gives to them because they were bringing her soft drinks, they were bringing her donuts, and she would interrupt, and I said, next time tell them to send some virtual donuts our way or something. But anyway, we had a lot of
That's
fun.
funny you say that. I actually have four young ladies in my office now on the floor watching me.
All right, tell them to get a bunch of donuts because we got a big crowd here. So, but anyway, my question, Jyevonne, is what actually motivated you to seek mentoring and speaking and leading? We've talked about that a little bit, and then, including your personal background that led you to start Natasha's Closet. So, speaking and learning, and how'd you start? What motivated you to start Natasha's Closet?
Yeah, so I started Natasha's Closet because of my sister Natasha Saffold. She passed away approximately 7 years ago, and she struggled with mental health and drug abuse. So when she passed away, I believe I started Natasha's Closet for healing for myself, and it eventually became healing for others. So I wanted to implement a system within the school that would support youth before they got to that point. Um, because I often thought about, what if she had this? What if she had that? Where would she be? Um, and I just remember our most important conversations, and the time I spent with her was in her closet, looking at her clothes, taking her clothes so that I can wear them. So I wanted to create that space, where girls sit and chat, they're getting ready, whether it's for school, a dance, partying, whatever that meant. But I wanted to create that culture in a school, which I eventually did at my at Brighton Charter School. And we've ran this program for approximately 5 years, and it developed into so many other things, entrepreneurship club, and just a whole lot of important things that supports the students. um, I initially sought mentorship because speaking and leadership, because I recognize that my voice is important, and I desire to inspire change within my community and within my life. So, and I also felt that it was something that I needed as a tool to better facilitate what I do, in addition to my career path. So when Dr. Greenberg asked me to participate, I jumped on. not always willingly, but I I joined.
Well, we're so glad you were, and you came and participated. And I agree with you, Dr. Greenberg's program truly, resonated with me, and I'm sure it resonated with you, because here you are. And I have to just say the progress you made, absolutely incredible. And we could feel you in those meetings and feel your strong sense of purpose and passion, and you've succeeded. So keep going.
Thank you. I
Exactly.
appreciate that.
Exactly. I think that's a great lead into our next question, which is really to kind of update us, share with us some of your current projects that you're working on, and then really link how mentoring has helped you, include some of the ideas that you actually were able to kind of gather from those sessions.
Yeah, so I'm always working on something, and a current project I'm currently working on is the Day of Dialogue. It's actually connected to Safety Patrol and the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day that I implemented approximately 3 years ago through AAA. So with Safety Patrol, we have students patrolling the campus during recess and ensuring kids get on the bus safely. In addition to, they started their own community with um, ensuring cyberbullying is not prevalent in our school. So they're the ones who communicate to us, we have issues on the internet and it's going to come to school, which they're always correct. Um, and then we have the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day that was implemented as well to support students in learning Ruby Bridges, um, how she contributed to the education system. Um, so this year we were focusing on equity, diversity, and inclusion. And so our day of dialogue will consist of that, surrounding the school environment, ensuring kids are accepting of others, understanding different cultural backgrounds, and celebrating everyone. So, with that connection with AAA, we've earned approximately $12,000 in grant money, and our goal is we have $7,000 available to earn in grant money this year. So our goal is to, win Ruby Bridges of the Walk to School Day award again, and I was the national advisor uh, on a regional and a national level with AAA. So we also won that award. So winning those awards gain us those grants so we can continue those programs.
That is amazing. And we are, I'm just overwhelmed with all of the excellent things that you're doing. And you've educated us repeatedly throughout this process. Bill, would you like to ask our final question?
Sure. One more quick question. Your UAGC education, okay? How's that helped you? And what tips and advice would you give to a current UAGC student?
Yeah, so my education at UAGC has equipped me in many ways. And one of those ways is to think critically. And you may ask, what does that mean? It challenged me to explore my own biases in regards to mental health, in regards to psychology, in regards to, reform of our education and our health system. So it has challenged me to think, deeper and to think deeper about things that just not pertain to my community, but others. If I could give advice to any student that's currently attending the Arizona uh, the University of Arizona Global Campus, that would be to continue to seek mentorship, apply what you learn in the real world, and also what you learn in the real world apply to your learning. I feel like education is not just about earning a degree. It's about using knowledge to create meaningful changes within your community. Um, in addition to that, creating tables and seats for yourself if they're not available for you.
Thank you so much. Creating that table for yourself was one of my favorite things that you've ever said. I remember it constantly now. And to give another student of ours a table here, let me share this video. Malayna Eubanks was not able to be here with us today, but we did record this video. So I'm going to go over here and hopefully this will work. So here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our talk. I'd love to introduce our awesome colleague, Malayna Eubanks, who's just recently graduated UAGC. Malayna, the people need to know a little bit about you. Can you give us some background?
Yes, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm currently living in Charleston, West Virginia. I'm a single mom of a beautiful 27-year-old daughter.
Congratulations. We love it. People are going to want to know what you're motivated in, what brought you into our speaking and leadership mentoring.
Yeah, definitely, because I've always wanted to get into public speaking and really hone that craft and learn different ways of speaking, tone of voice, you know, to be able to sell a message that lands and to be able to communicate effectively. Because what really motivated me is because I've always wanted to do a TED Talk. I love TED Talks. I love everything about it. Anytime I would see those people up on that stage, I want to do that. Like, that's what I want to do one day, because it whenever they're talking, it just grabs me, and I'm like all in, listening to everything that they're saying, because they have a way of speaking that is captivating.
And you already have a way of speaking that's captivating, so it's going to be our pleasure to help you accentuate that. But you're motivated by something even more, which is that desire to help people. Can you let people know about how you got interested in that and who you want to help?
Yeah, I want to help teenagers, and I want to be that foundation of support that they need. What's motivated me to even do that is because I know what it's like to struggle alone, and I know what it's like to feel like you don't have any choices. And I just feel if we can catch kids at a particular stage of development, that we will help them make right decisions instead of going left or go right, and in ways that's going to benefit them in the long run.
And some of our talks, you mentioned how you see education fitting in with these goals of yours. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, having the education, especially that I received from UAGC, has definitely helped me to broaden my perspective in, how people are and how we think and how we behave. And having that knowledge and that expertise has only motivated me even more to be that foundation of support that people need, especially teenagers.
And that's an idea that you've got progressively across your life. Can you relate that a little bit to the way you grew up?
Yeah, because I came from a low socioeconomic background. And even though we didn't have much, we still had a stable home. My mom did the best that she could do. But I didn't particularly like the struggle, and motivating me to get my education, really motivated me. When I get my education, then I'll be able to be more financially secure. But even more than that, my passion to help people is what's really rooted me to stick to the education and to see it through to the end. And that's why when I'm in school, I give 100%, because I really want to gain the knowledge and expertise that I need, because I want to be the best that I can be for those that I'm going to be fortunate enough to help.
And I noticed your motivation along the way, including your motivation to sign up for this optional speaking and leadership mentoring. And we didn't know what the mentoring would lead to. And that's part of the fun, because it's an informal program designed for me to figure out what it is that you're looking for, and to see if there's ways that myself, Bill, and Teresa can help you. And people don't know it, but when you started the mentoring, you were still taking classes, you were still doing work, and I can't talk this week because I've got to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
how did you do everything, and what tips do you have for your fellow classmates?
Wow. I mean, it was difficult at times, and just my determination to do the best at every goal that I set, because I don't like to do things half. So just having that determination, even when I didn't want to press forth, and just, take a break or whatever, I had to just keep going on, because the bigger picture is, that I'll have the education that I need, and I just don't want to just learn it and not retain it. So, and it was hard at times, but I did have to practice self-care and just push through it, and just strength and a lot of prayer. But I always put school first. If school wasn't right, or things at my job or whatever, if they weren't where I needed it to be, those things had to be in order for me to be able even to enjoy myself. And I would have those times, every once in a while, where I would hang out with friends and my daughter or whatever, and just to digress and just release. But yeah, but it didn't happen often, but it was a lot of sacrifice. But I kept telling myself, it's only temporary. This is not forever. It's just a temporary thing. We're going to push through it.
How much? Malayna had so much more to say. We had another 4 minutes of that interview. And so, but we need to switch now over to our question and answer. So I want to say thank you again to Malayna Eubanks. I want to try to figure out a way where we can get the rest of her interview in with this session, because she has some more wonderful comments. But now I would just like to thank our speakers and turn us over to question and answer session. Do we have any questions from our group?
I'd like to ask Jyevonne a question. So when we met, it was so inspiring. How would you encourage students to seek out and to prepare for a meeting with a mentor and to start that conversation? Because sometimes students are just afraid to get started. Like they're like, oh no, I don't want to, make it. So what would you suggest?
So for me, it's always important to build relationship with students, and sometimes the relationships with students is forced because they have to be there. But I'm glad I have these group of girls in front of me, because our relationship started because I didn't like wearing socks in my Crocs. So they would tease me all the time, and it just developed. And they will often, ask me life questions. What would I do? And those different things. So I would encourage educators to just saying hi. It is important, especially for teens, because you have no clue the hormones and all that crazy stuff that's going on. But a simple hi, I like your hair, I like your shoes, and just trying to find some commonality with each other, which establish some trust, so that they can feel that you're a safe space and a place to be around.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's been here. Jyevonne, bravo. And I'm glad you got to see Malayna too. It's now,
I know she's amazing.
she,
And I just want to thank you guys for helping me refine my skills as a leader and becoming a mentor as well. I truly appreciate you guys. You guys have supported me and helped me develop in many ways, especially with my confidence in regards to public speaking. I am truly appreciative of your support and your time that you've given me.
Yes, and Jyevonne, that doesn't end here. So anytime you want to call us, email us. We'll always be here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This was the end point to a beginning. It was our capstone to let people know a little bit about what you've done. what we've achieved together, and I am eternally grateful to Bill, Teresa, Jyevonne, and Malayna. Nothing like this would have ever happened. I couldn't have known what we would do together, and I look forward to what we will do together next. Thank you to all.